I should have never clicked on that link. It was buried deep in a forum I wasn't supposed to be on, hidden inside the folds of the dark web, glowing in sickly green letters. Wanted. Participants for a private study. $50,000 reward. Must remain awake for 30 days. At the time, I was broke. Rent overdue. Phone buzzing with debt collectors. The thought of 50 grand felt like salvation. The rules were simple. Stay awake no matter what. That's it. I told myself it couldn't be that bad. 30 days without sleep. People had done worse, right? But that's the last rational thought I remember. Because once you step into their world, there's no coming back. Day 1. The van came at midnight. No markings, just 2 men in masks. They didn't talk as they blindfolded me. I remember the chemical smell of the cloth against my face, the hum of tires on pavement. When the hood was finally pulled off, I was in a white room. Fluorescent lights hummed above, casting everything in a sterile glow. The walls were padded, the kind you'd see in an asylum. 4 others sat there, eyes darting nervously. We weren't given names. Just numbers stitched into our gray jumpsuits. I was subject 3. A speaker crackled overhead. You will be awake for 30 days. If you comply, you will be rewarded. Failure to comply will result in termination. I laughed at first. Termination. It sounded like a bad movie script. Day 3. We had no clocks, no phones, no windows, just constant light and an air vent hissing above us. The gas. They told us it would keep us awake. At first it made us giddy, jittery like chugging 6 cups of coffee. We played cards with scraps of paper, tried telling jokes. Anything to pass the time. But when I laid down, staring at the padded ceiling, I realized my eyelids wouldn't close. Not like I didn't want to. They physically wouldn't shut. It was as if invisible hands were holding them open. That's when I stopped laughing. Day 6. The others started talking to themselves. Subject 1 whispered constantly like he was repeating prayers. Subject 2 scratched his nails bloody against the wall, insisting he heard voices behind it. At night, though I couldn't tell if it was night, the whispers grew louder. At first I thought it was the others mumbling, but the voices, they didn't come from anyone in the room. They slipped through the air vents, slithering into our ears. Stay awake, stay awake, stay awake. I pressed my palms against my ears, but the whispers burrowed straight into my skull. Day 9. Subject 4 started screaming. He said he saw faces in the paint. We crowded around the wall where he pointed. And for a moment I swear I saw them too. Impressions pushing from the inside, mouths opening in silent screams. The scientists must have been watching because the speaker crackled. Do not engage with hallucinations. Continue the trial. Hallucinations? No, I know what I saw. Day 12. My body was breaking. My skin crawled like ants were burrowing underneath it. My teeth felt loose, my eyes burned like someone had poured acid into them. But worse than the pain was the feeling that we weren't alone. Every time I blinked, if you could call those dry, twitching spasms blinking, I saw shadows in the corners. Tall, thin silhouettes watching, swaying. But when I turned, nothing was there. Subject 5 refused to move from his bed. He stared at the corner and whispered, "They don't want us. They want what's inside us." When I asked him what he meant, he just smiled. His gums were bleeding. Day 15. The gas was stronger now. It hissed louder through the vents, filling our lungs with poison. Subject 1 ripped out chunks of his own hair. Subject 2 dug his nails into his arms until strips of skin hung loose. And Subject 4, he tried to cut his eyelids off, with his bare fingernails, screaming that he wanted to finally sleep. There was no blood, just a black ooze leaking from the wounds, thick and tar-like. The scientists didn't intervene. They just watched. Day 18. We heard the first voice that wasn't ours. It came from the ceiling vent, low and guttural, speaking in a language none of us recognized. Subject 5 started convulsing, foaming at the mouth. His body rose off the bed, jerking like a puppet on strings. Then his lips moved, speaking back in the same language. When he collapsed, his eyes were gone. Just empty sockets. The speaker crackled again. Proceed. Subject stable. Stable? His eyes were gone. That night I dreamed with my eyes wide open. Day 21. I don't know if I'm awake anymore. The shadows step closer every day. Face whispering things I can't repeat without feeling sick. Subject 2 carved words into his arm with his teeth. I watched him chew through flesh like it was leather. Blood painted the floor. The word said, "Let me sleep." He didn't die. He just kept chewing, humming to himself like a child. Day 24. I found something under my mattress. Old, dried blood. A lot of it. I pressed my ear against the padding and heard scratching beneath the floor, like fingernails clawing from underneath. This wasn't the first experiment. Others had been here before us, and they never left. Day 27. Only me and Subject 1 were still alive. He had stopped speaking English. He muttered in that guttural language now, pacing in circles, his bare feet leaving bloody prints. The shadows weren't in the corners anymore. They stood in the open, tall and grinning, their teeth too many for their mouths. They watched us, waiting. I realized then, the experiment wasn't about keeping us awake. It was about breaking us open, making us vessels. Day 30. The door finally opened. Men in hazmat suits stepped in, their faces hidden behind tinted visors. Subject 1 lunged at them, shrieking in that alien tongue. They shot him instantly. He dropped, twitching. They turned to me. One of them leaned close and whispered through his mask, "It worked. Subject is ready." I screamed, begged to be let go, but they only smiled. That's when I realized my reflection in their visor wasn't me anymore. The thing staring back had black eyes. And then, it spoke. Not with my voice, but with theirs. Final log, up in 30 days, and I don't think I ever will again. Because whatever I am now, it doesn't sleep and it's hungry.